Hey guys, Lancer here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks again for joining me while we look into the most fun commander cards that you can bring to the table, starting with the commanders themselves. Let's get to it. So, the first card is Bellaby, Corrupted Observer, which is a 1 green, 1 black, legendary creature zombie elf 2/2. Useful creature types. He actually doesn't look too much of a zombie, but useful creature types. At the beginning of each player's post-combat main phase, that player adds 2 colorless for each of your opponents who lost life this turn. Now, the main theme with most of these cards is they help you more, but they also make sure that the game moves faster than you would expect it to normally. And people that have been playing Commander for a long time knows that that can actually help a lot. Whether or not it helps too much, that's dependent on the game itself, but it can help a lot to make it more interesting and keep the game progressing. So a card like this is actually really cool because it adds that extra mana and incentive for players to actually get into combat, which is something a lot of players can hold off. And she's so cheap that you can get her out early and make sure that people make alliances and enemies very, very quickly. The next card, Ludevic, Necro-Alchemist, which is a 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red, 1 4. At the beginning of each player's end step, that player may draw a card if a player other than you lost life this turn, and he has partner. Now the partner is fine, but this ability is very similar to the previous commander, but more importantly, it lets them draw a card, which is actually a large incentive as well. I like cards like this to try out in at least a couple of my decks, especially if I know that it's gonna be one of those slower games, or if I want to just have some fun and have a casual game, and let's just see what crazy things people can pull off. A card like this is great. It's also a great incentive for people to attack, and that's very important. So, good card. Next, Kinios and Tiro of Meletis. Meletis. Yeah. 1 green, 1 red, 1 white, 1 blue, legendary creature, human soldier. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Each player may put a land card from his or her hand onto the battlefield. Then each opponent who didn't draws a card. Amazing group hug deck. When this card is brought out as a commander for any of the play groups, people actually are far more happy than to play commander after that point. It's a strange feeling, but the fact that you know you're going to be able to get something out of missing those land drops, something out of playing those lands, it helps almost every deck. And it doesn't really hurt anyone because in commander there is a low to medium mana curve, but at the same time missing land drops really really hurts a lot. And this kind of card just minimizes that risk and really brings out people's, I guess, ability to play the game. And that's something that's important in Commander is when one person doesn't have the mana and he isn't doing much, he's not drawing any cards, he's just sat on like 2 or 3 mana. A card like this, amazing. Yeah. And it's not about always helping your Commander players, but you're not always playing competitive either. A lot of Commander is just, a bunch of friends around a table. So great card. Kenrith, the returned king. You have the power to decide on how the people around your table play the game. It's an amazing card. It will also get people to say, "I know you have a couple of mana open. Can you give my creature something? Come on, give them haste, or give them trample. 1 red mana to do that. Perfect." Another thing to remember with this card is when you start getting enough mana, you can go infinite with a lot of other abilities that Kenrith has. But in a group hug environment where you're trying to play for fun, it's more interesting to give other people the powers and just make sure that you build up your alliances well. I think this card works really, really good if you've built up a way that you play the game and then you change it up every single time. So let's say that the first time you played with Kenrith, you were giving everyone haste. Just, like, yeah, you get haste, perfect. But then the next time, you instead get people to draw cards or focus on bringing back graveyard creatures from their graveyard because it says put a target creature card from the graveyard onto the battlefield under its owner's control. So that graveyard creature comes back to its owner's battlefield. Great card, good synergies with any table. I might as well read out the card now. 4 colorless, 1 white for a 5/5. Legendary creature, human noble. Everyone knows this card anyways. Pay 1 red, all creatures gain trample and haste until end of turn. Pay 1 colorless, 1 green. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Pay 2 colorless, 1 white. Target player gains 5 life. Pay 3, pay blue. Target player draws a card. Pay 4, pay 1 black. Put target creature card from graveyard onto the battlefield under its owner's control. Great card. Lots of things that you can do with it. And I think I have one. He's sitting in a group hug kind of deck, but then I switch out the commanders because I'm trying to go for a 5-color group hug deck. And that means that I can pretty much mix and match all of these guys whenever I want. So next card. Of course. Phelddagrif. You can't go past group hug without Phelddagrif. 1 colorless, 1 white, 1 blue, 1 green for a 4/4 legendary hippo, I think. Pay 1 blue, flying until end of turn. Target opponent gains 2 life. Pay 1 blue, return Phelddagrif to owner's hand. Target opponent may draw a card. Pay 1 green, trample until end of turn. Put a hippo token onto the field into play under target opponent's control. Treat this token as a 1/1 green creature. So as you can see, it does something weaker but similar to what Kenrith does, which is you use Phelddagrif to give other people some small benefit. I think Kenrith does it better, but the Happy Hippo is something that really does stick around the table. And funnily enough, when you play this crowd, you don't get attacked as much. It just doesn't happen. It's weird. Next card. Selvala. Explorer returned, not the broken one. 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 white. Legendary creature, Elf Scout for a 2/4. So 3 for a 2/4. Not bad. Parlay. Tap. Each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, add 1 green to your mana pool and you gain 1 life. Then each player draws a card. You get a pretty decent benefit from this card. You might be seen as a threat, but drawing a card for the enemy players, for the commander table players, guys can't always call them enemies, it really helps incentivize them to make the most out of their turn, and it might actually move the game faster than you'd think, even though you're getting a huge benefit. A lot of people see this as a win-win, and sometimes will not come after you until maybe it's too late. But then again, you're playing a group hug deck. Maybe you just want everyone to ramp a bit, or get them to draw their cards so they can play their good stuff. It's fun is figurative. Like, I will say that it's mostly opinion of what you think is fun. You might think it's fun to just play a lot of, extra turns. But with all the commander games I played, I think that fun is best when everyone gets to do something. And that's very important, at least in casual commander. Competitive commander, different beast. Anyway, another card that a lot of people don't know about is Questing Phelddagrif. 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 blue, 1 white for a 4/4 Phelddagrif. It is a pay 1. It has, sorry, pay 1 green. Questing Phelddagrif gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Target opponent puts a 1/1 green hippo creature token into play. That's a weak hippo. Actually, I sort of said that previously as well. Pay 1 white. Questing Phelddagrif gains protection from black and red from red until end of turn. Target opponent gains 2 life. Not bad. Pay 1 blue. Questing Phelddagrif gains flying until end of turn. Target opponent may draw a card. Once again, amazing card, especially in a group hug deck. You can really make some good allies and interactions with this kind of card. Just don't give an advantage to one person all the time. People might just start hating you. And yeah, cool. Karona. False God. 1 colorless, 1 and Blueberg. Which is pretty much all the colors. It's easier than saying it one at a time. But she's a 5/5 with haste. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player untaps Karona, False God, and gains control of it. Whenever Karona attacks, creatures of the type of your choice get +3/+3 until end of turn. This card is insanely powerful for everyone. I guess that's what makes it fun. But I will admit that when you're putting this in your deck, you're going to get an advantage because you might be running a tribal deck, which means that all your creatures are tokens, 1/1s or something, and you can benefit from the +3/+3. But everyone gets a swing at this. Now, the only problem is that while everyone gets a swing at this, they might just use it to swing at you. but it is still fun. When I played this card, the 5 colors itself adds a bit more fun. And if you're going for a group hug kind of idea, then everyone's going to have tokens, everyone's going to have a way to defend. It doesn't break the system as much as you'd think, and it still adds a bit of randomness that Commander games can sometimes use as well. Next. Braids, Conjurer, Adept. This one's a very popular commander as well, of course. 2 colors, 2 blue, for a 2/2. Legendary creature, human wizard. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may put a artifact, creature, or land card from their hand onto the battlefield. Very, very powerful. Pretty much you're doing something every turn that you normally would never be able to do. Your deck is going to abuse it, of course, because you're probably going to have insanely big creatures coming out every turn whenever she's out. But so are the enemies. And you don't know what they have. They might not always come after you. You might have ways to stop that. But everyone feels like they're doing something every turn. Mana doesn't matter. That's another thing that I can add. But it feels like you're breaking the game, and you are. But it's a kind of game that a lot of people don't get to play. So it's a nice change of pace for Commander, and feels good when you're doing it as well. You feel like you created the situation, and that's a good feeling. Last card is Queen Marchesa, 1 colorless, 1 red, 1 white, 1 black, legendary creature, human assassin with death touch. When Queen Marchesa enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent is the monarch, create a 1/1 black assassin creature token with death touch and haste. And monarch is a very amazing ability to add to a commander game. It incentivizes people to attack, especially the one with the most amount of life. And it really does help move the game forward. No one is allowed to be the monarch for too long because it just makes you too powerful with that extra card draw, especially if their deck can use it. So I think cards like this change the game by enough that you want to be able to at least try them out in a commander game with your friends and just see what kind of advantages everyone can get and how they're going to enjoy it. So thanks again for joining me, guys, and have a good one. I'll see you later.